Lagos Talks
91.3.
News.
In the local details, the federal government has suspended the introduction of 5% excise duty in the digital economy sector, a tax which was earlier proposed by the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, during the inauguration of a committee which will review the policy, said he personally rejected the policy and advised President Muhammadu Buhari against it in view of the effects it would have on the digital economy. According to Pantami, the introduction of excise duty in the telecommunications and information and communications technology industry would jeopardize the successes already recorded within the industry. Pantami also noted that currently the ICT sector is overburdened with multiple taxations both at the federal and state level. Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, has assured that the worst of Nigeria's insecurity is over, as the armed forces have substantially restored security to the country. Alhaji Lai Mohammed, who made the claims at a joint press briefing alongside Ministers of Defense, Major General Bashir Abagashi, Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, Police Affairs, Mohammed Maigari Dingyari, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, and noted that while the country may still witness isolated attacks on soft targets by terrorists, the security agencies have recorded massive victory against insurgents.
The security challenges we have faced as a government have been daunting, from terrorism to banditry, to kidnapping, to separatist violence, to crude oil theft, to armed robbery and sundry crimes. It's undoubtedly the greatest challenge to the peace and security of our great country since the Civil War of 1967 to 1970. It is a kind of challenge that would have overwhelmed many nations. But thanks to the purposeful leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, we can say, I want to repeat, that the worst is over and peace and security are gradually returning to the land. May I, however, call on the media to also endeavor to give a bigger play to the recent successes recorded by our security agencies.
Our correspondent, Raliat Adeniko in Abuja, reports that the Minister of Interior had also reassured that the federal government will eliminate terrorism totally and restore peace to the entire country by the end of the year.
The security agencies rose to this challenge and largely degraded the groups and persons constituting the threats. What we face mostly now are flashes of cowardly attacks from the rump of groups that have been routed in one location or the other, moving to another to give the false impression that they are still strong. Our ultimate goal is to eliminate them altogether and restore total and lasting peace over every inch of the Nigerian soil. And take this home, we are going to do, inshallah, by December of this year.
And on to other matters, the House Committee on Finance has queried the National Electricity Regulatory Commission, the NERC, for a lot in 1.37 billion naira for furniture and fittings for their offices, 2 billion naira for the purchase of computers and training, and another 5 billion naira for technology, all projected expenditure for the year 2023. Chairman of the committee, represented by Honorable Saidu Musa Abdullahi and other members, had also found that the sum of 650 million naira allotted for gratuity and retirement for staff, in which 150 million naira is to be given to 5 staff as retirement and gratuity benefits. This and many other queries were raised yesterday at the resumed hearing of the 2023 to 2025 medium-term expenditure framework by the Finance Committee.
I'm not convinced on the technology you are spending the money on. So you need to tell Nigerians exactly what you're spending the money on. The software part of it, because it's a black box. I can find a way to mask 20 billion in software, and I will not spend a kobo. So the question is, can you tell Nigeria exactly what software are you investing in?
Less than 5, you are voting 500 million for the gratuity fund, and also employee retirement benefits, 650 million. Application of this figure, that's 650 million for people that are retiring for less than 5.
Correspondent Nathan Williams reports that according to the NERC chairman, Mr. Sanusi Garba, the revenue projections for the year 2023 is 22.4 billion naira, while operating surplus stands at 2.4 billion naira.
Revenue projections for 2023 to 2025. In 2023, we project a revenue of 22.4 billion with a operating surplus of 2.1 billion. In 2024, revenues will go up slightly, 23.5 billion, and operating surplus will go down to 1.1 billion. And the reason is simply we are motivated to do as much as we can to reduce the tariff burden on consumers because of affordability issues.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU says its members remained resolute to get what public universities need from the federal government to survive and compete globally. Professor Ayo Akinwole, the chairman of ASU, University of Ibadan chapter, who made the assertions on Monday, said that lecturers in public universities in Nigeria have been using their bloods to run public universities and sustaining it, while it cannot continue to sacrifice its members' welfare. The union had given 14-month strike notice to the federal government before commencing the strike in 2022. Akinwole added that 1.1 trillion naira for revitalization of universities was not for lecturers in the public universities, as the amount was arrived at by the federal government through its needs assessment report on the level of decay in Nigerian public universities. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, has assumed responsibility of the life-threatening experience of a passenger with an escalator at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, on the 3rd of September. Its acting General Manager, Corporate Affairs, Mrs. Faithful Hope Ibaze, in a statement had tendered apology to the family involved, noting that they have also reached out to actively participate in the care for the injured, while the authority is now reviewing the operating procedure for the equipment to ensure such sudden mechanical faults do not reoccur. Ikeja Electric has debunked reports that some customers under its network had been plunged into darkness. Its head of corporate communications, Felix Ofulwe, in a statement on Monday in Lagos, rather clarified the company is carrying out maintenance of equipment similarly to the ones already completed in Alimosho and many other communities across its network. He explained that Ikeja Electric was embarking on replacement of obsolete panels at the Gondo injection substation, which is aimed at improving power supply availability to that area. Ofulwe noted that the exercise would last for 10 days, adding that only feeders under Igondo, Obadore, Akeso, and Egon would be impacted. The abductors of travelers at Omialafa village along Owo Ifon Road in Ose, local government area of Ondo State, have demanded 90 million naira ransom from families of the victims. The victims were abducted on Saturday while they were returning from a funeral service in Edo State. Commissioner for Information and Orientation in Ondo State, Mrs. Bamidele Dimola Olateju, who disclosed this in Akure yesterday while briefing reporters on the abduction, informed that 18 out of the passengers in the bus were abducted, while 9 have regained freedom. The governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has accepted the resignation of the Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Idris Salako, as a prelude to the restructuring of the ministry and its agencies. The governor, who had thanked the commissioner for his services to the state and wished him success in his future endeavors, however, warned all players in the sector to respect the law or face consequences of any indiscretion, no matter who the perpetrators are. In the meantime, the death toll from the Lagos building collapse has risen to 6, according to emergency officials. A 7-story building situated at Obaido, Oniru Street, believed to have been sealed by the state government about a year ago, collapsed in the early hours of Sunday. with emergency workers and security operatives promptly at the site to rescue the victims. A bill for the establishment of the Lagos State DNA and Forensic Center has been passed by the Lagos State House of Assembly. The lawmakers during plenary had said the bill, which passed the third reading, is to support investigations of criminal activities, law enforcement, and preservation of evidence in the judicial system. Deputy Speaker of the House, Honorable Wale Shiloku Sani, who presided over plenary, had directed the clerk to transmit a clean copy of the bill to the state governor for assent.
Activities, investigations, law enforcement, preservation of evidence for the judicial system, and for other connected purposes be passed into law. Those who are in support say A. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, please pass the clean copy to Mr. Governor for assent.
We'll take a look at stories coming from outside of the country. Kenya's Supreme Court has ruled that William Ruto was properly elected president, dismissing several petitions seeking to annul the results of the 9th of August election. His rival, Raila Odinga, and others had alleged there had been massive fraud. However, in a scathing ruling, the judges said some of the petitioners had falsified evidence. Ruto had garnered 50.5% of the vote in a closely fought election against 48.8% from Raila Odinga. The 55-year-old will be sworn in as the country's 5th president next week. Also making the headlines outside of Nigeria, Liz Truss will be the new UK Prime Minister after defeating Rishi Sunak in a Tory leadership contest on Monday. It was a closer result than some analysts predicted, with Truss taking 57% of valid votes cast.
The total number of valid votes given to each candidate was as follows. Rishi Sunak, 60,399. Liz Truss, 81,326. Therefore, I give notice that Liz Truss is elected as the leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party.
I'd like to pay tribute to my fellow candidates, and as your party leader, I intend to deliver what we promised. We need to show that we will deliver over the next 2 years. I will deliver a bold plan to cut taxes and grow our economy. I will deliver on the energy crisis, and I will deliver on the National Health Service. But we all will deliver for our country.
Liz Truss will become Prime Minister on Tuesday, today, after travelling to meet the Queen at Balmoral in Scotland. Meanwhile, Home Secretary Priti Patel has resigned. In a letter to Boris Johnson, Patel had said it is her choice to serve from the back benches. Straight to business news quickly. The House of Representatives Committee on Finance has advised agencies in the petroleum sector to synchronize figures released in the sector with regards to the number of litres of premium motor spirit dispensed daily to various depot and filling stations. The deputy chairman of the committee, Representative Saidu Abdullahi, who gave the advice during an appearance by the management of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority at the ongoing 2023 to 2025 medium-term expenditure framework fiscal strategy paper public hearing with ministries, departments and agencies, said all agencies in the sector brandish different figures and confuse Nigerians.
You have different figures coming out from different agencies. Even yesterday, NNPC released a press statement, and the figures they quoted is not in tandem with what you have just given us. Now, I think even within the petroleum sector, there is need for you to sit and reconcile your position so that we'll put this country on the right path in terms of even the information that is available to the public. If you are having figures being thrown out from different agencies, different figures being thrown out from different agencies, you're not giving us room to even appreciate what you're doing.
And lastly, in sports, Nigeria and USA women national senior teams will clash in Washington, D.C. today, Tuesday, in the second of a two-match tour of the United States by the 9-time African champions. 3-time world champions trounced the Falcons 4-0 in a two-teams first encounter at the Children's Mercy Park in Kansas City, Missouri last Saturday. Both USA and Nigeria have qualified to participate in the 9th FIFA Women's World Cup finals to be staged by Australia and New Zealand in the summer of next year. Today's encounter will take place at the Audi Field in Washington at 11 p.m. Nigeria time.
Lagos Talks
91.3.